That's it. I mean, she's a tough cookie. She's very nasty a lot of the time. She's supposed to be screaming at Harry a lot of the time. I don't know whether she hits him or not, but she is very, very dangerous, I think.
Breaking right now, Valentine Lowe, who is the well-regarded royal author of Courtiers, who broke the original story of the bullying HR investigation into Meghan Markle at Buckingham Palace, has responded to Hollywood Reporter's bombshell suggestion that Meghan Markle is an HR nightmare, terrifying for staff, and even a quote dictator in high heels. So this is what Valentine Lowe has had to say. He said it does have some glaring and fascinating echoes of everything I wrote and that others have written before about Meghan. I don't know about the truth of the Hollywood Reporter article, but it seems to be a pattern that she is, depending on your point of view, either a demanding boss or a difficult one. She certainly has clear standards, but on the other hand, the demands she makes of people may not always reflect what's possible. She may demand too much. Of course, Valentine Lowe originally revealed that Jason Knauf, then the Kensington Palace press secretary, had written an internal email in 2018 pointing out that he was very concerned that Meghan Markle was able to, quote, bully two PAs out of the royal household in the past year. He said the treatment of the staff was totally unacceptable, and he went on to say the Duchess seems intent on always having someone in her sights. She is bullying and seeking to undermine her confidence. We have had report after report from people who have witnessed unacceptable behaviour. So, Angela Levin, this is absolutely fascinating, isn't it? Because, as you know, for a very long time, Harry and Meghan's argument has been that all of the reports of bullying behaviour and terrible treatment of staff was just a campaign by the men in grey suits within Buckingham Palace, by people like you and me in the media who they decided we just had it in for them. Absolutely not true, by the way. We were just reporting what really happened. But how on earth can they justify the fact that the exact same thing has now happened in Hollywood and has been reported by Hollywood Reporter, which, Angela, is not some sort of right-wing or conservative publication. I mean, this is the woke Bible of Hollywood, and they are talking about how terrible Meghan is.
Yes, it's very interesting, isn't it? I mean, they do feel it. Just add to you that it's the palace who's made it all up to be unkind to her, which, is now known to be nonsense. So the Hollywood Reporter is very highly respected, and they are believed to tell the truth. So for them to really have a go at her is partly fascinating and partly astonishing. So they've said that everyone can get terrified by her. She belittles people. She doesn't take advice. Harry is very charming, but he's an enabler. That means he just does what he's told, and that's it. And she's called Duchess difficult, and it's going to be a very, very hard one to live with. I mean, she said she marches around like a dictator in high heels, fuming and barking orders, and she's reduced grown men to tears. It's very interesting, isn't it?
Do you believe it, Angela, based on your reporting of Meghan?
Well, I think so. I mean, you can see that. You just have to see what she's like with her husband, pulling him around, gripping him. And when he wants to go up to speak, which was very shortly, a few weeks ago, she was holding him back and he was pulling to go and he pulled up. Now, only people who have problems with themselves will do that to an unlimited number of people watching. I don't think she will take them to court. We'll have to see. But I think what she will do, which she does when she hates what's happened, is to go very, very quiet. I think she had her weekend of fun, and then she'll go very, very quiet. And then there'll be one PR after another PR thing saying how wonderful she is and how it's all going. And her cooking things are all fine, even though they won't come out till February. And Netflix is doing something, even though it's not going to come out till December. And I think that that's how it will be. I think it will be too much to do that. Do you remember the cartoon about her, which was also extremely rude and nasty? You know, I
South
want
Park.
privacy. I want privacy. She didn't take them to court. She didn't.
No.
And she didn't.
Well, I
And I
look.
don't
I
think she
don't think
did that
there's.
either.
I don't think there's any way she can, Angela. I mean, they have spoken to 12 current or former staff members. And actually, what's really fascinating, and this doesn't always happen, is that Hollywood Reporter are actually prepared to speak publicly about what they discovered on a major syndicated American TV show called Access Hollywood. So let me play you the first part of this, Angela, and we can react off the bat.
According to the Hollywood Reporter's Mayor Roshan, the magazine's bombshell report investigates the reported mass exodus of employees who worked under the Duke and Duchess.
Our reporter talked to, I think, a dozen people. Most of them are people who have worked very closely with the couple in various capacities, now and previously.
The article comes on the heels of news last month claiming that the couple's chief of staff, Josh Kettler, left his post after only 3 months on the job, which we are told was a trial period and a mutual decision. Kettler has not returned our request for comment.
Our reporter talked to one very high-up source who works for the couple, who said everyone is terrified of Meghan Markle.
The Hollywood Reporter quotes the sources saying Meghan, quote, belittles people. She doesn't take advice. Harry is a very, very charming person, no airs at all, but he's very much an enabler. According to the...
Now, Angela, that man who we just saw there, Maya Roshan, he is the editor-in-chief of the Hollywood Reporter. So if she was going to sue anyone, she would be suing him. Now, you can see he stands by his story. He's very confident about it. He's prepared to say, our reporters are speaking to very senior people who work for them. I mean, to me, this looks like copper bottom reporting.
Yes, absolutely. The editor of a paper won't go out and speak like that if he had a tiny bit of doubt, would he? He just wouldn't do it. And so there we are. We have it. But actually, there are a lot of figures that confirm this. One is that, she's lost 18 top people since they left Buckingham Palace. But there's also been nearly 20 people at a lower level who've also gone. The problem is they've had to sign a lot of papers that they won't say anything about their lives there. And, I think that's right at one level. But so they're absolutely tongue-tied to do anything, saying what they want to do now.
So, Angela, just to clarify, so you're saying that as well as the 18 more senior people, there's another nearly 20. So they have actually nearly lost 40 staff since moving to Hollywood.
Yes. Those had much less important jobs, but they obviously...
But still.
Yes, well, exactly, but they couldn't bear it. I remember that Meghan was calling people at 5:30 in the morning and demanding things and actually making people very, very nervous. And as Valentine Lowe has said way back, and he's to be trusted as well, that they couldn't cope, and some of them are still suffering from her attacks on them, not physical attacks, but the way of making them feel dreadful and negative. So I think what it's all about is that the true Meghan has been uncovered, and that we shall see her as we think she is now. She has
It's so awkward, Angela. I mean, look at that tweet there. Look at that tweet there.
Yeah.
So this is Better Up, right? Which is the company that Harry is a staff member of, isn't he? Some ridiculous title they've given him, can't remember what it is, but he's a senior executive for BetterUp. And look at what they say here. If you are a manager, here are 5 ways you can help your employees foster optimism and agency in the workplace. Well, as this person replies, not great timing, because how on earth can Harry be working for a company like that when he's unable to even control his wife's monstrous behaviour towards their staff?
Well, I think if you're out of the house, you feel a bit better and you can do a little bit. But he's not really capable of doing that because he is bogged down with feeling maybe he's got to take the Home Office to court.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got to demand his father speak to him or William to speak to him. Has got to shout at the people who answer the phone who won't put him through or can't put him through because the king is very, very busy. And I think that look at his face there in that photo. He's so unhappy. He's so serious. He was a very jovial person, like the one we saw for his birthday. Going back from 2021, but it's just very, very difficult for him, I think, to work in that way because he doesn't feel well. I think he's really lost. He doesn't know what he wants to do, and he's in a terribly difficult position. But actually, if you are with somebody like Meghan, who actually has to get her own way, you have to do what she's going to tell you. You either run away altogether or else you sit there and just let it happen. And unfortunately, Harry, who was so keen not to be a spare, she wrote over 400 pages about it, is another spare.
But first, if you've been following my channel, you know I've talked about Verso before. They were my first ever sponsor for a reason. I've been using their products since earlier this year, initially drawn to the longevity benefits, the feeling more youthful, the having more energy, enhanced cognition, better sleep, all of that sort of stuff. But there was an unexpected bonus I started to notice. Cell-Bean by Verso isn't just about slowing down the aging process, it's packed with research-based ingredients that also promote fat loss. These ingredients have been proven in both animal and human studies to boost metabolism and improve body composition through a variety of body mechanisms. One aspect is how these ingredients increase the body's process to break down fat and act as a calorie restriction. Mimetic, essentially fooling your into thinking it's consuming fewer calories. They also help regulate glucose and leptin levels, which suppress hunger and increase feelings of fullness, effectively curbing cravings. Now, I take Cell-Bean every day to feel like a younger version of myself, combating the signs of aging, which is amazing on its own. Experiencing fat loss, though, is an added bonus and something I'm very happy about. Plus, Verso ensures transparency and quality by publishing third-party testing results for each batch they produce, so you know exactly what you're paying for. Click the link in the description on YouTube and Rumble, or head over to ver.so and use the coupon code Outspoken at checkout to save 15% on your first order. To repeat, that's buy.ver.so, www.buy.ver.so/outspoken. Use the coupon code Outspoken. Yeah, it is sad, isn't it? Let me show you. Oh, sorry, you go.
Yeah, it's also very foolish of him that he is having the paperback. And I just hope he's taking half of it out so it won't upset his family. He's not doing anything to help himself, really. He's just saying it has to be, but life isn't like that. Sorry, go on.
No, very true. Well, I just wanted to show you the second part of this Access Hollywood report into the Hollywood Reporter claims, because what's quite interesting is they started, Angela, by juxtaposing what Meghan had to say herself on her Archetypes podcast. Do you remember when she spoke about the fact that, oh, no, I'm not demanding, it's wrong to say that I'm demanding, and they juxtaposed that with some of the shocking comments from the staff members who they've spoken to.
You're allowed to set a boundary. You're allowed to be clear. It does not make you demanding. It does not make you difficult. Makes you clear.
Duchess Difficult is a nickname that's trailed Meghan Markle for quite a few years. What is new is this notion that coming to America, that a lot of those rumors were manufactured by the palace.
There's a hierarchy of the family. You know, there's leaking, but there's also planting of stories.
And the reporting that we did suggests that that probably isn't true, that there is this still undercurrent of fear.
An insider tells The Hollywood Reporter Meghan marches around like a dictator in high heels, fuming and barking orders. I've watched her reduce grown men to...
You're allowed to set a boundary.
Angela, your response?
Well, yes, I mean, I absolutely agree. You can only cope with that for a certain amount of time. I think she doesn't let herself look beyond what she wants to, pretends to see. And that's it. I mean, she's a tough cookie. She's very nasty a lot of the time. She's supposed to be screaming at Harry a lot of the time. I don't know whether she hits him or not, but she is very, very dangerous, I think. And I think that the Queen, the late Queen, saw that straight away. And when you look at her face at the wedding, you couldn't see a more unhappy, serious face. Not that one, but the one in the wedding. She was really, really worried about it. And of course, she could see that. William did as well. And that's why he said, go easy, don't rush. You know, the life here is so, so different from her life. You know, give it time. And that's when Harry decided not to speak to him for a long time. He was absolutely furious with him. Now, you can understand that the second brother, the younger brother, doesn't want to be told anything about a woman he's suddenly fallen for. But actually, if his grandmother looks at him like that, well, not at the wedding, but before that, she would have tried to say something. And his brother says that, hang on, don't rush it. But Meghan wouldn't wait. She said, I'm going to leave unless you marry very quickly. So he had very little choice.
Yeah, indeed. And she is famous for her verbal abuse. I mean, I'm certainly not aware of anything physical, but verbally, she is absolutely known for having a very sharp tongue. And the thing is, Angela, Harry, because Harry's a bit simple, he revealed in Spare the late Queen's reaction when he asked her if he could marry Meghan. And to say it was underwhelming is a real exaggeration. I mean, it was so obvious from her response to Harry that she did not want this marriage to go ahead. But she also wasn't going to stop it because Harry, I guess, less important. He's the spare, not the heir. She knew that Catherine was a very, very solid partner for William, but she was never happy about this relationship, and Harry is delusional to think that she was.
Yes, but the King and Queen now, they really were thrilled that Meghan was join the royal family. And they said that it'd be wonderful because she could do so many different things and actually really help us and, you know, be modern. But Camilla, I know, invited her for a lunch and started talking a bit about, you know, the protocols and all that. And she didn't want to know. She said, Harry would tell me. And she was really quite rude. Whereas she did the same for Catherine. And she had her daughter with her. And Catherine was very grateful for her telling her certain things, which William and Harry couldn't tell their loved one because they were so used to it. They wouldn't know that that's new. Whereas Camilla...
Yeah, and it's different for a woman as well, isn't it? There are different protocols and different issues in terms of what you can wear at particular events.
Yes. And so they were...
But she never really accepted Camilla, though, did she? Because Harry was always saying such horrible things about Camilla to Meghan, so...
Yes. Well, yeah, well, whatever she says to Harry, he has to listen to that and believe it. which is also very sad. That's what he did with his father. He invited his father to come along when he was what was it, on the Today program. He was running that just before Christmas.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Before they got married. And he had various people on. He could have anyone on who he wanted. And he wanted to have his father on. And so they did. And he said, I want to talk to you about, clean skies and all that. And his father said, oh, you never were interested. And he said, no, what's happened is that I've suddenly realized how much you know and how much I need to listen to you. So that's why I've got you here. I'm absolutely thrilled. It was a very, very moving twosome there. And I don't think that anyone who could be so gentle and want their father on a program like that and be so warm to them and say how much they cared and listened, that suddenly they didn't like them anymore. Well, how could that happen?
Yeah, there's got to be a very nefarious influence involved, doesn't there?
Yes.
Now, look, Angela, I want to speak about Prince George because, look, I think William and Catherine are great parents, and so I'm loath to criticise them. But I'm not a fan of this. I am not a fan of this, and you may totally disagree with me, but
no, I don't Prince George,
so he's having flying lessons at age 11.
Yes. There's a picture of him all dressed up, the uniform and things, and he's got a trainer and taken him up quite high, and that's what he's learning and doing. Now, I would be, as a mother, I would be absolutely terrified. I mean, William and Harry weren't allowed to go to take helicopters or learn how to do helicopters until they'd both spent some time in the army. And the Duke of Edinburgh, the late Duke of Edinburgh, he wasn't allowed to go flying until 30. Now, I know he was 30, and I know that things are much, much better now, but I think it's really scary. And I do know, I don't know if Catherine is very upset about this or very worried, or he's something he really wanted to do, so she's letting him do it. But she was absolutely scared when William flew. And when he drives motorbikes, she gets really, really stressed about that. And I think that with little George, it would be similar.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is just one area where I disagree with William, because I think the line of succession is so important, and Angela, it's particularly important because of everything that we've been talking about prior to now, which is we cannot risk a situation where the British royal family is left in the hands of King Harry and Queen Camilla, which is what they want. So this family, who we're looking at, this beautiful family, are so important to that. But William has just been a little bit reckless, in my view. And some people won't like me saying that, but he still flies with his entire family, which means that if a tragic accident happened or an act of terrorism happened, because remember, the royal family, Angela, are targets. We know King Charles is suffering from cancer. It doesn't bear thinking about the idea that Harry remains in the line of succession behind William's young family. So I just think, can we not have some hobbies which are just a little bit safer, please?
I agree with you. But I think that he has been asked several times now, not so that they don't all fly together, or that he doesn't fly with George, Prince George. So that I believe they're trying to work out who goes where. I mean, it's not happening now because Catherine's not well enough, but I think there will be a split between them. They love each other, so they want to go together. But I agree with you. I don't think it's right anymore. Absolutely not. And they have to be careful because there's so much nastiness in this world now that you have to be extra careful.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please do subscribe if you want lots more clips and interviews like that. Plus, if you want to watch our totally uncensored after show, then visit www.outspoken.live.